Well, hello there. It's been about a week since, you've known about me, my existence. I'm alive somehow. Um, the surgery was an experience, all right. I have to say that. The surgery was quite the experience, and I just wanted to log in to come talk to you because I don't feel with the enough energy just yet to go back to playing. I've been playing really simple games lately for my own free time, and I've taken it slow because, well, healing takes time. But yes, the whole experience was very unique, to say so. So, when you go to a hospital, you're asked to get into a medical gown before you're passed to the room you should be waiting into for surgery. At least that was my experience. So I get in the gown and I'm waiting, and they put me that I forgot the name of it, but the little needle they put into your arm, into your hand, so you can get hydrated and things like and medication all to the vein. I don't like needles, but I managed. And my surgery was delayed an hour, I believe, because there was a surgery prior to mine and they were cleaning up. So that was something. And when I enter the room, the doctor begins to draw the parts the measurements she's going to be taking into consideration for cutting off and taking out the tissue of the body and so on and so forth, right? So that experience was normal enough as it is. Nothing too much, nothing too bad. And just as she was finishing, I began to feel dizzy. And just so you know, I fainted a couple times before. So I know how it feels like when it's not sudden, and I knew it. I knew that I was going to be fainting sometime soon. So I asked the doctor if I can sit down for a moment, and maybe she thought I was asking because my legs got tired from standing up or something. And her response was, "Don't worry, I'm almost done." And that's when I tell her, I'm dizzy. That's why I want to sit down. She sat me down at the speed of light. Then my ears began to sound muffled, if that makes any sense. They began to feel muffled, and that's when I knew I'm going to faint. It's going to happen because that's one of the things I feel when I faint, right? I don't know how others feels, but first is the dizziness, then it's the muffled ears, then there's spots in the vision, and then you fall. You're gone. You're gone out of this plane. But it was fine. I survived for the most part. I lived. I lived long enough. So that's impressive as it is. Um, After that, one of the nurses got me a little cotton ball with alcohol to smell. Because if you don't know, when someone faints, a good way to wake them up is with the smell of alcohol, like the medical alcohol, okay? I'm not talking about beer or whiskey or anything like that. I'm talking about medical alcohol. That's the best way to wake up someone who fainted. And after that, I feel a little better. I get on the little, it's not a table, but the place where they're gonna perform the surgery. And they began to, well, it sounds bad, right? But to drug me a little bit. So, I'm more fussy and wussy before they apply the anesthesia because apparently that was very painful and I did not feel it at all. There's a big bruise in my back because of the sindering they used. I have a big bruise in my back because of it, and it's a little painful to sleep since sleeping to the sides is not an option. So I have to sleep on my back, and that's painful a lot of the time, but it's less painful than on the sides. So the surgery happens, right? Everything's going fine. There's no complication. But for whatever reason, my body said, "Hey, you know what would be hilarious? Wake up mid-surgery." And I did. And I woke up mid-surgery. That was an experience. So I remember waking up. They said I spoke. I don't quite remember that. But I remember I opened my eyes. It was still mid-surgery. I want to be very firm on that. I was mid-surgery. And and I wake up. The first thing I see is this medical sort of covering they put on your face when you're in surgery, and that's all I'm seeing, right? I try to move, but my hands had been tied to the sides of this surgery table because that's the position I needed to be for the surgery to be more easy for the doctors, right? So I'm tied up, so of course if I move, nothing really happens. I did not try to stand up. My brain was not awake enough for that. And I see one of the nurses take off the covering and I look and she looks into my eyes. I think I remember seeing a little bit of fear before she covered me again. And that must be such a stressful situation for a doctor. But considering how I was restrained for the surgery, it was really easy to put me back to sleep, right? They said I woke up more times during the surgery. I don't remember those. That's the one I remember. And then the surgery ends. So after the surgery, I was supposed to stay knocked out for like a couple hours, a couple hours before, anesthesia takes over, blah, 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 blah. I didn't do that. I did not do that. Instead, my buddy said, you know what? Wake up right now. And I woke up with the doctors putting the bandages on top of the bruises that they had to make to complete the top surgery, right? And it's really funny to me because everyone was surprised that I was awake. I should not have been awake. We still don't know why I woke up that early. Like, I should not have been awake at the time. But it was funny for me, not for the doctors. I don't know how it was for the doctors, but for me, it was hilarious. So, they helped me on, put the binder I'm gonna need that I'm using post surgery to keep everything in place, make sure nothing is out of bounds, make sure everything stays where it has to be. And I'm awake at the time, right? I'm awake at that moment, so they have to talk me through it. So we're gonna move it to the side to help you put it on, and then we're gonna adjust it. Don't worry, stay still. I'm like, yeah, sure. I was out of my mind. I remember most of it post waking up, but my mind's still a bit woozy because I was still under the effects of anesthesia. There's a picture of me right after I got into the hospital room I stayed in. And I look high. I look high. That's the only time in my life I'm gonna look like that. I hope. It really was an experience. So they help me put the binder, and they tell me you need to move into this other bed. It's not a bed. I really am not good with technical names, but it's not the bed. It's something to transport me in, but I don't know the names. So they put me on that. I have to move myself slightly with help of of the nurses, but all good. And I think I heard my door. I hope not. And they're talking with me as they go to the elevator because they have to make sure that there is no trouble with me, right? They have to make sure of that. And the funniest part is that when I woke up at that time, the left side of my body was not completely awake with me. I remember, especially my arm, feeling all tingly, and I was doing so hard, doing my best so hard to be able to move it, but I couldn't. Like, my hand was there, and I was trying to open it up, and I really couldn't. It was such an effort I couldn't do. And my mom was completely shocked to hear me talking on the hallway after my surgery was done because again, I was not supposed to be awake. I was not supposed to be awake, and yet there I was. Very, very much awake. She was pretty shocked. She rushed out of the room to see what was going on. They got me in. She didn't see me transfer to the actual hospital bed I will be staying until I could leave later that same day. And I was fine. I felt no pain because again I was under the effects of anesthesia. Today I still feel little to no pain, but it's here and there. It's been a week, so it's almost a week. So yeah, I think I'm doing fine. I have an appointment with my doctor tomorrow to see how I'm doing. But it's really fun. It was a really fun experience for me. In the hospital bed, I remember my mom was constantly asking, "Is everything okay? Are you all right?" And I understand that. I'm her daughter. She's worried. This was a surgery. It's a big deal. And I was like, "No, yeah, mom, I'm fine. I'm fine." And I was babbling about a lot of things, so many things out of my mind. And you know, for someone decided to try streaming, I'm not that much of a talkative person. And yet there I was, trying for some reason. Yeah, it was a funny experience altogether. Um, what else happened? I wasn't able to eat 2 hours after I woke up because there was the risk of vomiting because of anesthesia. So, and since the surgery was done on the chest area, especially where the lungs are, the risks of vomiting were much more serious than in any other surgeries. So we had to prevent that from happening. I got to eat some chicken soup and some lemonade, which was nice. It was very little, but it filled me for the moment. And I had a lot of trouble falling asleep the first times because I'm always used to sleeping to my side, right? Curl up to my side, hugging a toy or a cushion or a pillow or something. I'm very used to sleeping like that. So when I wasn't able to do that, I had trouble falling asleep because I wasn't completely comfortable, you know? But it is how it is. It was a really fun experience. Again, it was extremely fun for me. My mom panicked a lot when she saw blood on the binder and on the medical gown. I wasn't because again I was more or less high on the medicine, but um, I wasn't as scared because our doctor did tell us before time during her recovery, during the bandages, there's going to be blood. It is normal. There's nothing to be afraid of. It is a normal reaction of the body because again, these are bruises that are still healing. Don't worry about it. But my mom saw the little bit of blood and, called the nurses for help. And while I was, "Mom, it's alright, don't worry, mom." And yeah, the nurse gave me the ride. It was normal. She said that she was going to check in again later, and if it was even more, then she would do something, but there was no more. What else? What else? What else? I remember I was watching Disney Channel that day while I was, in the hospital room because I wasn't really there. I remember the Sharpay movie being there. But overall, fun experience, I'd say. Fun experience. And now it's been weeks of recovery. As I said, it's also gonna be a week tomorrow. Um, Recovery has been more slow than I would like it to be and uncomfortable in certain aspects. Like I said, sleeping is not very comfortable as it used to be. Eating has not been a problem, thankfully, but I haven't been able to cook for myself. I have to ask others, and I have to ask others to help me with things like getting cereal down from the cupboards because I cannot reach my arms very high up yet. It hurts and it's painful, so I try to avoid it as best as I can. I'm hearing doors. I think I'm overwhelmed. This is going to be fast because again, I don't know how much time I have. I just wanted to update on what exactly happened, what went on, how I'm doing, how I'll be doing in the following days. With some luck, I really hope to be able to stream next week without feeling this tired because again, I recovering has been peaceful but extremely tiring. I haven't slept this much ever. I haven't remained laying down that much ever without moving or rolling or having to stand up and go do something before laying back down again because I need to move certain movements before, being able to relax for some reason. It's really been an experience. Um Again, this is one top surgeries are one of the easiest surgeries to recover from, so you shouldn't be too worried about them. But yeah, I think that is all I have to say about that. I haven't had any food limitations. Oh, right, the medicine I've been taking are two pills and one gel. Like, and the gel is the most awful thing I've tasted in my life. I never in my life want to taste that again. I despise it So these are little packages of gel that I had to take for 5 days. Today's day six. I finished those yesterday. But yeah, they were these little packages of gel that I had to take 3 times a day before every meal. I tried to measure it more or less, and it was so bad. It was awfully bad. I cannot explain to you how bad it was. And I was, well, maybe this medicine won't be so bad. It says it has a 20% of sugar. I was completely wrong. It was awful. But well, at the very least, I managed. Um, I hated it with my whole heart. It was awful, but it was one of the medicines that helped with the muscular pain I was feeling. So it wasn't one I could say, no, I won't take it. I'm skipping. I can't do that. Besides, medicine is almost over today and tomorrow, and that should be it. Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but I think I'm doing fine for the most part. I think I'm doing fine. I like my new look, and I have to tell you, the moment I got home, the moment I was able to look at myself in a mirror after the surgery, I cried. And and I don't know how to feel about that because I looked at myself and I cried out of joy because I was finally happy with what I was seeing in that mirror. That was really an experience I wish everyone could have. I cannot explain to you what exactly I was feeling, but that was the best feeling I've had in a while. It was one of those feelings you never truly want to get rid of. It was a feeling I don't think I'll feel again in a long time, but it felt so right, you know? It felt so right to look at myself and how I looked before and how I look now after the surgery was one of the best moments in my life. Very easily one of the best moments of my life. And my mom got a little worried that I cried, but it was in a good way. I cried in the best way possible. And that's just something that I don't know how I will ever top. This was one of the best decisions I've made. Not only because I no longer feel back pains like I did before, only the first one of the anesthesia shot, but it was a moment that I would dare say was magical. That's what I would dare say it. It was magical to be able to look at yourself and finally be happy with that image in the mirror is something that's never going to happen again because I don't have anything else I dislike. But that was something I wish everyone can experience someday because it's one of those feelings you don't ever want to let go of. Well, I'm not sure if I have anything more to say for today. This is very short, very very short compared to what I normally like to do. I like to do an hour and a half playing, talking about everything and nothing at the same time, but this was just an update, I suppose. An update of me, of who I am, of what I've done, and how I'm doing right now. Thank you very much for watching if you watch it live. Thank you very much for watching if you watch this later. I I suggest you follow me here on Twitch to stay tuned. If you go to my Twitch page, you can find two links: my Twitter link, which you can also follow, and my bot link, which you can subscribe on YouTube for free. In the bots, you can see everything I've done before and everything I will do in the future. And likewise, if you're watching this on the YouTube bots, you can find in the description my Twitch, my Twitter. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you very much. I'm at 37 followers right now. I need 50 for affiliate, so one step closer every day. Share this with anyone you think would like it, and I think that's all for today. When we reach affiliate, it will be for us all, a work in team. I'll see all of you again sometime, and sometime soon, I'm hoping. Bye bye, everybody.